All right, so somebody needs to confirm you can see my screen.
We can see it, Jeff.
Great. So welcome again, guys. I think you have been listening to some of us quite a lot of lately, and we do apologize for that. I mean, I know we could bring more speakers from here and there and do this, but also at the same time, we feel we know what it is, we know what the content should be, and we also know what we want you to do after this. So that's why we thought let's do it internally within the committee. So today's session will not take 1 hour, honestly. It will not take 1 hour. It'll be shorter, it'll be concise, and it'll be to the point on how do you get your ideas funded. I think you all know me, so I don't even have an introduction slide today, but I'm with you here to help you and support you in your humanitarian ideas. I think that's the short version of me. You can stop me in between, of course. You can speak up in between and tell me if you have a question. But otherwise, I mean, the presentation will be shared. Of course, the recording will be shared, so you will have all the data to be able to read and come back to me later also. Let's get going. And I promise today's slide deck is not a repetition of all the other slide decks you have seen. Maybe a few of them could be, but overall, I have tried not to repeat the same message, the same slide again and again, just so that it becomes boring for you. So I have tried to avoid that. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show you what we have discussed so far. This slide you have seen so far, right? I mean, you have seen all the different programs within HTB. Apex and IEEE, Empower a Billion Lives, Move, Site, Tech for Good, Smart Village, and Reach. You have seen these programs now. I think Lavanga also talked about this slide, and I have talked about this also in the past. So we will not run this through. Just so you know, there's n number of programs within IEEE that give you funds to do something. Depending on the cause, if it's a humanitarian cause, you have specific funding. If you have new initiatives, some ideas that can change the world in another way, there are other initiatives also, like NIC funding or foundation funding, etc. So there's all sort of funding available. And the ones today that I'm going to help or talk to you about will help you basically get funds for anything you want to do in your local communities with the help of IEEE. Right? Let's begin. I mean, some programs, again, you have heard the name of the programs, but perhaps you don't know how is this program going to fund you. Like this one, right? I mean, this is a very famous program you have heard of, SITE, a Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology. You know what it is, right? I mean, it is a group of people, like-minded people. You go out, you solve a problem together. That's SITE, more or less. And I know in this call also, people from Tunisia, for example, or Lebanon, you're quite into this. So you have done this several times. For the others who haven't done it, you can easily form a side group and do something that is. I'm just gonna move my window here. Sorry, it's coming in between. Just a second. Okay, now. I don't see my presented notes. Give me a second. Okay, this should be fine. Cool. So I hope you still see the screen. Great. So what I was saying is, I mean, you have heard of this program. It's in so many countries, so many people are there and involved, and there's a lot of talk about this program. But how does it give you money at the end of the day? How do you apply for funding, and how do you do anything with it? So, if at all you have a problem in the community you need to solve, like I said, you can reach out to IEEE. Site does not give you money. Site only gives you the platform to ask for money. So if you form a site group together with some volunteers in your local section or the student branch, it will help you get some money, but site itself never gives you money. But there is something called a site group accelerator program. Has anyone heard of this program at all? Anyone who knows this program, site group accelerator program? Hands up or down? No one? Okay, never. Oh, somebody, Noor, you have, yes? You have heard of it, of course.
Yeah.
Good. So at least someone, but others, I mean, if you haven't heard of this program, then this is the program that can give you money. And why and how? Let's have a look. Basically, all Region 8 site groups, all of you, I mean, whoever has a site group today, can actually apply for this. And what we do is we give a seed funding for initiatives and activities in the new year. But the basis of this funding is based on or is your previous year's event. So for example, if you have done some great things in the last years, or especially the last year, I would say, the past year, the 1 year, then that will help you qualify getting a seed funding for this year. And this is great, right? I mean, you don't even have to do anything extra for this. All you have to do is do your events, report them in vTools, update your officer position, and submit the form or submit the self-assessment report, as we call it. That's all you do, and you get funded. So I would say this is great because you're not asked to do anything extra for this program. All you need to do is collect evidence of what you have done in the last year, submit it this year, get funded. So it is super simple, I would say, and this helps many of the side groups around the world get that small amount of money that they need to be able to, let's say, I don't know, do a joint event, meet somewhere, talk about a new initiative, etc. So I would really, encourage everyone to just go and have a look at this super simple program. We help you get, whatever money you need. It's up to $300, but actually, it's $300 on top of what site gives you when you form a group. So it can be up to $500. You can look at it in that way. Anyways, just to not confuse you, super simple. Report your events, last year events, report your officers, and all you have to do is one report. It's a self-assessment report that says what have you done with the money, etc., etc. And criteria you can see down here. It says here, improve your site group visibility, participate in Region 8 HTSAP, activities, organize events and activities, collaborate with stakeholders. That's it, and you get $300. So, and $300 may be less for some people in Europe, but I believe still it's quite good amount of money for a small event that you may want to do. So think about this program as something that can give you the seed funding to be able to meet, to be able to just have some good coffee with people, share ideas in a similar place, in a same place, etc. Really simple program, I would say. Okay, good. So this is one of the programs, and actually the funding is open at the moment, so you can go and apply even now if you want to. So that's one of the programs, and you can actually take this QR code also if you want, but you'll get this slide deck anyways. Next program, Tech for Good. Now, how many of you have not heard of this program? Because that will be super strange. All right, how many of you have heard of this program? So hands, can I see hands? Have you all thumbs up? That works also. All right, good. At least two and three people or four. So this is also after site. If there's any program that's talked so much, it's this Tech for Good. As the name says, I mean, it's technology done for good, for goodness of the world. That's all it is. I think Lavanga talked a lot about this program, so I think I will, again, not to repeat the same things. It's a funding program. It's a funding program that helps you do something good in the community. In this case, as you see in the picture, solar panels. It's the most common projects that we fund, solar panels, but it could be something else also, street lighting, water treatment, and whatnot. So all of that, that you heard up until now about site groups can be funded using a Tech for Good project. So in short, site is a program where like-minded people meet. They apply for funding through Tech for Good or the other programs, and they get funded. So that's what it is. So site and Tech for Good are complementing each other in a way. One gives money, the other one doesn't. Now, last years, we gave a lot of money. Actually, we have been giving a lot because this program became so famous that we have been doing a lot of calls. Even within Region 8, we have done a couple of calls, and we ended up giving quite a lot of money last year. If you look at this, I mean, you see it for yourself. And it's $10,000 at max you can get, and the project timeline has to be 6 months. And it must be in one of the UN SDGs, but I believe that is a given. If you're thought of doing a humanitarian project, you can always connect to one of the 17 SDGs, the UN SDGs. So I see it as a no-brainer also. The thing about this program, however, is that you need to apply with a lot of lot of evidence that you will actually use technology to solve problems. And the money we will give you is not going to be used for something else but technology only. And that's the basic criteria for this program. So if you see here, the criteria is benefit to the local community, project scope is defined, team composition is very diverse. Risks, if any, have you seen them? Involvement of local organizations, clear potential for social and environmental impact, and alignment with IEEE's mission. I think some of those are given, but some of them maybe you have to think about how to do this, right? So again, a simple program, but needs a bit of planning, a bit of execution before you actually can submit and get it approved. But this has been very famous of lately. We have been giving a lot of money. So it's not that we want to save money and say no to any program, any project. We rather want to do the other way around. Right? So think about this. I mean, if you have an idea today, you want to solve a problem in your community, and you have no clue where to go, this can be one of those places. Tech for Good. You know, I will share the deck and you will read a lot about what to include in the proposal and all. It's all, the common stuff, I would say. But some things that I'll come at the end of the presentation are common to all the programs, and we'll talk about them. But some things that you should avoid in any proposal also, you should definitely think of these things. I mean, budget, not itemized. That doesn't work actually. Disaster relief, no, it doesn't work really with us. Let's say you are only doing research-based project, it doesn't work either. It has to be something that you can do in your community with the help of technology, and it has to be something hands-on. That's it. That's the requirement here. And if you can find a partner in crime, I mean a community partner, even better. I think you saw this in Luanga's presentation last week, right? Or earlier this week. So I don't need to talk about this either. But it goes through an evaluation process. You have a letter of intent submitted first, and then you actually submit the full proposal, and then you get the final decision. But even though it may look like a multi-step and complex process, it is pretty simple, honestly. I have seen so many projects doing very good. A simple letter of intent and then a simple final proposal, and that's it. So the elements of a good proposal remain the same, no matter which program you choose, but it depends how much energy you put into this to make it look really good. Now, connected to Tech for Good calls, we also have something called as Region 8 Community Support Program. This is within Region 8. So the Tech for Good program is from HTV, but Region 8, we have our own program called Community Support Program. We do it in collaboration with Tech for Good, meaning the money is still partly shared with Tech for Good, which is the HTV program. But what I mean to say is that we do it together hand in hand, and that way we get a little bit more focus to Region 8 proposals. And this year we ran it, super successful. We got 27 letters of intents, 11 different countries, 75% eligible to submit a full proposal. And then we had, a full proposal, 24 full proposals submitted, in fact, 5 selected for funding with 25,000 USD worth of money. And this is within Region 8, meaning within the community we are talking today. So Middle East, Africa, and Europe. And if you put this 25,000 in perspective, it's a big money. I mean, just imagine how much money is IEEE putting into these good activities, these good initiatives around. So make use of this. This is, again, a simple program. The great thing about this program is Region 8 committee, meaning me, Noor here, and all the other committee members in this. George is involved, Lucia is involved, Feroz is involved. All of them actually, they do help you. So if you are stuck somewhere, how to do this? Where do I ask questions? Reach out to us. We are here to help you. Our aim is to be able to help you, in fact. So this was the second program now you heard about. The third program, HTV Event Sponsorship Program. Now, this maybe is not heard by everyone, but I do know that some know it very well and some use it very well also. The simplest example I can give you here is, I mean, we just had several SIPs, the Student and Young Professional Congresses, and HTV actually funded $500, $1,000 to many of these congresses so that they can run successfully. And what happens here? I mean, we actually have a sponsorship package. So you have platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. I mean, depending on what kind of event you're doing, you actually tell us your requirements, and then we look at what the use case is, how much can we actually fund, And at the end of the day, we try to, help you as much as possible. So the only requirement here that you have from these packages, and if we were to fund you, is that we will do a workshop or we will run some sort of a session in this event that connects you to humanity. So that's the only requirement we have, that you give us that opportunity to talk to your people, half an hour, 1 hour, or whatever, in return of the money that we give in. Super simple program, I would say. I'll let you read this for a second, but all it says here is that, you actually download the right proposal template, you submit it, and once you have submitted, we will look at it and we will come back to you as soon as we can. All right, so that was this is another program. Oh yeah, so also for this program, I should highlight this. I mean, what we cannot do, even though we say event funding, you cannot use this money in the event for scholarships or giving cash prizes, honoraria, or tokens of appreciation, souvenirs. No, we don't do these things. What we want to do is technical conferences. But then we, of course, I mean, we'll send you merchandise and all those things so that you can help, you can distribute those things also. So it's a simple program meant to help you and your events become successful. And if at all you have questions, HTB staff is very helpful in funding you this money. This is not a lot of money usually. All right, good. I mean, these are reporting requirements. After you have done the event, you need to report it. But it's again, I'll come back to it at the end of the presentation. Right. So the next one I want to talk to you is the hackathon. I think this is an interesting one, something that not all of you have heard most likely. And the reason is that hackathon is run every second year. This is a Region 8 initiative. So we do it in conjunction with the Region 8 Students and Young Professionals Congress. And why is that? Because that's where most students gather together within Region 8, and we have a great audience, and hackathon makes a perfect sense in such an audience and such a setup, right? So that's what this is. So what it is, we'll have a phase 1 where it'll be virtual. We will do some training, we will mentor you, and we will ask you to prepare a project proposal that you will pitch during the hackathon. And if you do the pitching well, if you do win the hackathon, then there are certain things you get. One is, of course, going to let's see if someone pinged or what. Okay, now it was just a message. So one of the things you get here is travel to a conference or the Congress itself, the Region 8 Congress. So if the virtual session goes well and you show that yes, you can actually do a pitch during the Region 8 SIP, we invite you there. So that's one of the things you win. But also we look at other things, some prize money so that you can do a project. And also, I mean, we help you with travels to any other Congress or any other event within Region 8 if needed. Yeah, that's my daughter here. All right. So moving on then with hackathon, then we go to the next one. This program now is another one which is very close to my heart. It's called Apex and IEEE, which is Engineering Projects and Community Service. And this program, the difference is that this is for students. I think all the programs that you have heard so far, it could be for students and young professionals either. But this one specifically is for students. I need to close the door, guys.
So guys, meanwhile, if you have any question, you can feel free to type it in the chat or raise your hands.
Anytime, absolutely. Thanks, Noor. So why is this program special to me? Because I started my IEEE journey with Apex and IEEE. I was introduced to this program by the local volunteers, and they asked me to do a project. And what I did is actually I converted my bachelor's thesis project into an Apex and IEEE project. So basically, I funded my bachelor's thesis using Apex and IEEE. And that was a great way of, finding money for my own, whatever things I needed to buy. And at the end of the day, I also felt that I helped some community, in locally where I was living back then, in doing something different. So this is a great program if you're a student. and you have 1 year of time to do something. And even though this is not an HTB program per se, so this is not an HTB program, it still falls in the umbrella of HTB, Humanitarian Technologies Board. So this program itself is Educational Activities Board program. So because the program is designed in a way that it is supposed to be educational more than anything else. Hence, this is an EAB program, but it still falls under the umbrella of HTB somehow. And the reason you see this slide here is because I think you would want to know why is this an educational program, etc. And what you see here is that the model for EPICS, existing since a long time, is actually coming from Purdue University in the US. So basically, IEEE imbibed the model that Purdue had and started calling it EPICS and IEEE actually. What we do, we have 4 buckets of projects: education, access and abilities, environment, human services. And basically what we are saying is, I'll skip this one here, is that you do a project which has knowledge from your classroom, but helps you solve problem outside of the classroom, meaning in the community. And in doing so, you actually learn about communication, collaboration, project management, time management, plus of course the technical skills that you apply from the classroom to a program or a project that you do. Imagine, I don't know, make a robo, a firefighting robo. If you make a firefighting robo, you will learn a lot about robotics, of course, but also project management, leadership, and everything else that's mentioned here. So this program is awesome. I would say this can help you basically as a student, help you solve anything if you have a technology or technical solution in your mind. And the call for this program happens twice a year, once in the beginning of the year and the other one is in the fall. So 1st October was the deadline for the second call. And the good thing is the timeline in this case, unlike Tech for Good, is 1 year. So you get 6 months more compared to Tech for Good to do the same project. One thing that we look here is definitely some sort of innovation. So is it off-the-shelf solution? Can you buy something such as a solar panel? Can you buy it from the either market or somewhere and just install it? Then we might have a problem. But if you do the same thing, implement the same thing in your own way, you'll be funded. So identify a problem, develop a relationship with the community, scope the project, execute it. It's as simple as that, just like any other program, like I said. And $10,000, up to $10,000, 1 year or less, it must have student involvement. And also it should have a partnership, with some NGO or local community. Emphasize on engineering design. I think that's very important because here we are looking at the educational component. So basically we want you to learn more about technology by actually experimenting and doing a practical problem solving. So that's what we want. And then you cannot use the fundings for supplies and everything else that we have said before also. You cannot use it for salaries and travels. So that goes without saying. So this is another program as a student, you can make great help. I mean, this is great actually. I would say this is one of the programs that has flown so well for such a long time. And we only see great things coming out of this program. And you can visit the website and read more about it later. Now, just before I end the presentation or summarize the presentation, there's one honorary mention, and that's a Smart Village. Now, Smart Village is one of its own kinds of program. It is not for anyone and everyone to apply for ISV, IEEE Smart Village, and get funded. But what it does is it gives local community the power to form an enterprise. And what is an enterprise? It could be a small company. It could be I don't know, just somewhere where people can start to make money, so that it changes the village or the community where you couldn't do much, you didn't have any earnings, to something self-sustainable. So the village starts to be self-sustainable, and that ways we make it smart. Could be educational, could be mentoring, could be anything. But I mean, the thing with this program is it's not for students especially, and it's also not for all sort of communities, I would say. This has been very successful in Africa, but not beyond so much. But think about it, if there is something that you can think of, I mean, can you can you bring the enterprise, nature in some project in the community that you're working with? Could be a thing. The funding is quite a lot in this case. Let me see if I have a slide on that here. I need to move. There we go. So it doesn't say the number actually here because we really don't want you to think that we can do a lot here. But the thing is, we provide a seed funding, and then we want the local communities to become entrepreneurs or connect with the local entrepreneurs and do things. And Smart Village funding, it comes itself from different IEEE foundations and societies and councils. So that's why also, I mean, we are really looking for, impact where we can see that the community thrives after the project or the Smart Village is done. So this is not for everyone, I would say, but if you can think of something, empowering community or empowering a village, it could be a thing. The application for this is also very different compared to all the other applications, I would say. But I had to give you this information because this is a program. It's a well established program. Some of the people who are involved in this program are there for a very long time, so they know what they're doing. And if you need more information, we can get you in touch with them. I'm not an expert in this program myself, but the program is there. Just think about it if it's for you or not. All right, so let me just summarize this very quickly in 3 slides. First thing first, take any project, any program that I have now talked about, 5 or 6 programs that I just talked to you about. The problem statement, the motivation has to be really, really clear. Connected to a sustainable development goal from UN and to IEEE tagline also if possible. Focus on the community-related issues locally in the region, not somewhere else in the world. You cannot solve problems in Australia and somewhere else if you're sitting in, let's say, in Egypt or somewhere else. So think locally. Budget, always itemize it to the extent that we can see where will you spend that extra $50 that you're asking us for. So we have seen a lot of projects and proposals where we see one line item of $300. It doesn't work like that. And also don't simply expand the budget to fit the call. I mean, if the call is for $10,000, you can still ask for $2,000. We appreciate that, and that way we can help more than one project. So just think about it. And then computers and phones and salaries, no, we don't fund those things. Partnership, I think you heard a lot about partnership in the last session. Always good to have a social partner. I think they can help you test, they can give you inputs, very valuable inputs all through the program or project, right? So always good to have a social partner. Can be an NGO, NPO, or a university partner even. Oops, sorry. And then technology and sustainability. Now, innovation in some programs is rewarded, but not always demanded. EPICS is one program where we really want innovation in some way, but still, it's not that if you don't have that, we will not fund your project. Sustainability, however, is a real need, because if you do a project with our $5,000, we want to see this project running for a certain amount of, a certain number of years. If it dies at the end of 1 year, I mean, the $5,000 is gone and all the effort that you put in is also gone, right? So think about it, how can you make it sustainable? Community impact over a long period of time. I think that's given, right? I mean, you want to do something that helps the community for a couple of years or centuries if possible. So that's in a nutshell. And I will not read through all of these slides again. You will get this, but it's a summary of all the things that I've just said. Site Accelerator Group, let me just do here. Site Accelerator Program. Then we have Tech for Good. And then you have HTSAP Run Community Support Program that I talked about. EPICS and IEEE, you just heard from me. HTB event sponsorship, you heard. And then you have Technology Hackathon, the Region 8 Hackathon, you heard from me. And the Student Ambassadors Program, I didn't talk about it because you're all already here. It's not a funding program, but the winners do get some sort of, not cash money, but travel to a conference or events of this in this program also. But I would say all the other programs that I just spoke about, they're more to fund your ideas, your projects. I'm not going to read through these actually, because I think I have talked about them in the past. I mean, Nigeria has great projects, not only this, but several other projects they have done are really good. Water purification, solar panels, all of those really, really good programs and projects they do. Uganda also is another very good example. UK has had educational, element in their projects. And I don't have an example from Tunisia yet, but in the next session, I will definitely bring a Tunisian example because I know many of you are from that section, and we do have some successful projects there. All right, so that's it. I'm not going to talk about these things, but I want to stop here. This is the committee. You can reach out to any one of us for any of the programs and projects, and we will help you. And with that said, I'll stop here now for questions.
Thank you very much, Samarth, for the presentation. And if I may add something, for the last project that you went through, if there is one common point in those projects, is that those projects are very simple. Those projects can be about any field. It doesn't have to be very innovative. It just has to solve a community problem. You just have to look around you and see what's needed, to talk with people, to see what they actually need and solve it in a very simple and realistic way. You can be innovative as much as you want, but we really want to solve issues. So with that said, you have seen how many opportunities for funds you have from HTB, from our committee. Also, nowadays we see that many big companies started to think more about social impact. So such project may attract entrepreneurs and companies' attention. So this is a great asset to include for your partnership and outreach proposals. And after all, this presentation will help you also acquire your first badge, and this will help you for the upcoming badges. And we would like to see you promoting those things, and why not also implementing those things and applying for it and becoming an inspiration for other volunteers in your communities. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
So has anyone applied for any of the programs here? I know Tech for Good is quite famous here. So anyone in this call who has applied for Tech for Good funding in the past? Sora, yes. Have you? Okay. Which section are you from, if I may ask?
Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. We applied. We just recently applied. Still waiting for feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
but I have questions.
Yeah. Sure.
Sorry. Go ahead. Can just finish. So I was just asking. You talked about the smart village. Maybe if you can just mention who's the, like you mentioned, like that we cannot really apply, but if you can just tell us who can really apply, it will really help us.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say that you cannot apply. You can, of course, apply for Smart Village also. But the thing here is, if you're just going to do one project, one simple project in your community that solves a simple problem, or not a simple, but a complex problem also, that will not generate money for the local community. Then it doesn't qualify for Smart Village. Right? So what we want smart villages. I mean, assume there's a small village in some part of the world and they have no way of making money for their living. What can they do? Maybe they can start a pottery business. Maybe they can start a business of producing cotton, fabric. And if that happens with the help of IEEE's technology and money, then definitely that qualifies as smart village. But if the solution to that problem is, let's just buy them, I don't know, let's just buy them something one time that is not bringing money to them in a sustainable way, then it's no point. So that's what I meant when I said you cannot apply. You can definitely apply, but it depends on what exactly is. problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like a project that needs a prototype in the end. It's more of creating a space for
Exactly.
the community to be able to. Okay, so yeah, thank you.
Yes. There was another question actually in the chat I saw now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lenin said, great presentation. For the humanitarian projects, does IEEE allow conflict of interest? Suppose you do know a community a relative is part of, where we draw the problem statement from. I think she means, or he means, let's say that someone is already working within IEEE, if this is considered as conflict of interest.
I'm still not following, but I wouldn't think so. I mean, if you know IEEE, or if let's say you're a part of the section committee and you apply for a funding through one of these programs, that's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
So I hope that was the question.
Please tell us, Lenin, if we answered the question or you still need more information. But I also saw that Otman has had his hand raised. Did you want to ask something, Othman?
Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. Basically, I just want to acknowledge that I also applied for the EPICS in IEEE recently, the one that closes on October 1st. And yeah, we tried our best. We are hoping to actually get the funds. So basically, I've tried to apply for various humanitarian projects for my SB. And one of the problem, or one of the issue that we do face, is getting the letter of intent. That's the LOI letter template. So that's been a very big problem for us. I don't know if there's a way we can actually get that. Thank you.
But ethics doesn't need a letter of intent, actually, does it?
Yeah, Epic doesn't, but other projects, I think most of other projects actually require letter of intent.
Yeah, Tech for Good needs a letter of intent, actually. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, I think to drill it down really, really basic, I mean, what we're looking for in the letter of intent is that you want to do a project. It has these elements, such as a partner, such as technology and sustainability. And if those things make sense, we usually do invite everyone to submit a full proposal. I mean, this year, if I just look at the number of proposals we got within the Region 8 committee, between the 24 or 27 projects that letter of intents that we got, our aim was to have as many full proposals submitted. But at the same time, we shouldn't be wasting time of our volunteers also who might submit a full proposal and then we will say, sorry, you don't qualify because it's a very badly written proposal. So that's why we do this. And also we do go out and tell people, if you can make your letter of intent a bit more powerful, please do so. So we have given double or second chances also to people. So in all honesty, I mean, our aim is not to make lives harder. And if you really don't find a good template, why do I have a memory that we do have a template? But if you don't find it, write to us and we can give you a good example of how a letter of intent looks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So we have a clarification from Lenin. First, we have Omar says, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge and opportunities. As ambassador, I'll make sure to pass them to the interested community and maybe submit a proposal myself. Well, we definitely encourage you, and if you need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. So Lenin clarified her point and said that, let's take this example. For a smart village project I applied for, I have my relative present in that community. Will that compromise my project since I'm invested a bit more due to family connection?
All right, I get it now. I get it now. So I would answer it like this. If your cousin or relative in that community is a beneficiary of technology that you're gonna implement, it's not a problem. But if the beneficiary, let's say, is let's say your relative in that community, let's say is selling solar panels, and you buy solar panels from him, that's definitely a conflict of interest, and IEEE will not say yes to that. So I think we have to divide. If it's the community impact that is affecting your family or cousins or relative, perfectly fine. I think that's not a problem. In fact, I mean, charity begins at home. You want to solve problems at home before you help others, right? So that's no problem. But if now somebody were to get paid from Smart Village to be able to deliver service to you or to your community, that I would think is a conflict of interest for sure. So thank you for clarifying, and this was a great question, actually. If I think back, yeah.
Thank you. So any other question?
No, please. I have a question for you, Ma.
Yes.
Mostly, I noticed that most of the main, for most of our meeting, yeah, that is sent by you. Sometimes I receive 2 mails. Like today now, I missed the first presentation because I received 2 mails, and I've clicked the first mail and I didn't see anything. So it's later I tried to check my email inbox and I saw this second mail before I joined. I don't know if the community can actually rectify that and probably give us a kind of calendar reminder for all meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Otman. If you are talking about those meetings and those trainings, well, I'm sure that you are receiving a calendar invite, and if not, I'm always reminding in the group. There are all the links and dates of presentations, and I'm always reminding the same day of the presentation. And also, if you want to share your email, just to confirm, because some of you shared wrong email, so this may be the reason why you're not getting the calendar invite.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I think we changed the date of one of the presentation, but all the other dates were conveyed in the first meeting that we had for phase 2. So
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we can do more reminders if that's what is needed. Not a problem, but I would also want you all to just set reminders for yourself if that's needed. But it's a calendar invite, and in the calendar invite, you can actually edit and make a reminder 15 minutes, 1 hour before, or 2 hours before. Also, you can select that yourself. That also works. I see Sora has a hand up. Sora, was that the question, maybe?
No, I have a question. Just to ask, like, what's the timeline of a site group being approved? Because we had a challenge of forming an SB, but we are done with that. So we have also submitted our site petition, and I just wanted to ask, like, the timeline, or if you guys can also help push, or just a question. Yeah.
For the site group, how long does it take for a site group to form? Are you asking?
Yeah.
I mean, if you submit the petition on a given date, it usually doesn't take more than, I would say, if I'm right, it was not more than a quarter, because the review is happening every quarter. But if you're lucky, let's say you submit the petition today with the signature of your section chair, and let's say the review is in the next month, then we can actually get it approved already next month. So in actual sense, usually people don't have to wait that long. Have you submitted a petition for site group and you're waiting an answer? Is that the case?
Yes.
Send me an email, Sora. I'll see where is it and how is it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, maybe if I can ask a question to help them. I've been always getting the question of is EPICS supposed to help only students, or is it supposed to be done, the project of Apex should be done by students?
It should be done by the students. So that's the idea. So Apex is a student-led program. Now, I know it's being recorded, so what you didn't hear me saying this, but what has also happened is that, you know, students have applied for funding, and young professionals have joined the group, and they have done the project together, and that's perfectly fine, right? I mean, we want diversity also, but in general, there should be, the lead of the project should be a student member who's doing the project, and then he or she should run the project. Yasmin, yes, the presentation will be shared, and also the recording of this video, of this session, sorry.
Any other question?
All right.
So meanwhile, if you remember any question or you think of anything that is not clear, please tell us. Meanwhile, I would like to remind you that this is the third training, and shortly after this training, you will receive an evaluation form that will be necessary for you to earn the first badge. And this series of presentations will help you working on the second and third task, which the second task will be about outreach. You will be asked to collaborate with another unit from IEEE or outside of IEEE, and you will be asked to present benefits that our committee can provide. And for that, I think today's presentation was very helpful because Samarth showcased many of the opportunities that we have in our committee. And for the third badge, you will be asked to submit a proposal, get funded, or find a partner for your events, projects, or any amazing efforts you are working on. How do we also get the 3 slides? Which slide?
I think
Well,
he means presentations of 3. I think 3.
Yeah. So as usual, everything will be shared with you through LinkedIn, but it will be mostly recordings. And for the presentation you will be asked to deliver, there will be a template, you can use it. So if there is not any other question, we can stop the recording for today. And thank you everyone for attending. We hope that it was beneficial, that you learned as usual, and that you will actually use this knowledge for your future projects and